Rejoicing is not about being merry. It is peace and joy and gladness at the experience of life through sacrifice and generosity. Welcome to Sunday Reach from the Dominican Friars of the province of India. John the Baptist preached repentance. The reason was that the Lord is at hand. If they were really faithful to the covenant, they would have been a people of integrity, righteousness, and justice. So, preparing the way meant to turn their hearts to God. In the repentance Jesus preached, He pointed to a truth of us, that we are the children of God. And He put God in a relationship with us, that God is our Father. Without the truth of this relationship, we cannot have the joy of true worship of God, and we cannot have the experience of God's presence among us, the Emmanuel experience. What must we do? Jesus' answer would be to do the will of God. The will of God is that we may have life in abundance. We can have life only by doing the will of God. And Jesus came to give us life and life in abundance. He made life visible among us. That life consoled and strengthened many to enter the joy of salvation. Only when the life flourishes, we can rejoice. Where are our songs of joy and gladness? How did we adamantly attach ourselves to the spiritualities of the desert, the wasteland, and the scorched earth? Where are the streams, gushing waters, the springs in us? Where are the songs of rejoicing? We who are rejoicing in the Word made flesh can live the happiness only if the Word is alive in us. In naming, framing, and claiming of Jesus, we cannot have an encounter of the Word made flesh. Though there is nothing wrong in imagining that baby Jesus is coming inside our heart, we fail in welcoming Christ if we cannot imagine and desire that we be transformed Christ-like in our attitudes, approaches, words, and deeds. It really begins with a recognition of the Word in the beauty and goodness of humanity and the larger community of all species. Often we term them as mere natural, human, social, or even condemn as worldly. The Word has been there and is present in and among us. The Word is not in the words and letters. The Word is within us and among us. Every encounter with Christ has a sacramental power, the meeting of our daily realities and the Word to be enfleshed. Then we have a new song of joy. That is the moment we can experience that God rejoices over our life. He will rejoice over you with gladness and renew you in His love. He will sing joyfully because of you as one sings at festivals. Peace of God begins to guard our hearts and minds when our life and our desires are known to God by prayer and petition with thanksgiving. It is not a festal happiness at the arrival of a deity. It is the joy of being created anew. In brief, rejoicing is not about being merry. It is peace and joy and gladness at the experience of life through sacrifice and generosity. Love the Lord your God and your neighbors was what God asked. Instead, we may dare to teach God what sacrifices must please Him. Did God ask for atonement and heaviness of reparations? It is sacrifice and generosity in life that generate joy and peacefulness, without which we cannot rejoice. Self-emptying sacrifice is what provides life, and that is what God asks of us. We read from the Psalms, "You wanted no sacrifice or offering, but you gave me an open ear. You did not ask for burnt offering or sacrifice for sin. Then I said, Here I am coming. My delight is to do your will. Your law, my God, is deep in my heart. This self-emptying brings about a freedom and so joy. It means be free of the self-oriented mechanisms that support our false securities and of the false identities that keep us in false glory. This denying of self would be another answer from Jesus to the question, what should we do? For Jesus, it was neither materiality nor the law that described worldliness, but it was the intentions and attitudes. Worldliness is not in the material or in the natural world. It is in our choices. It is in our heart. It is here we need the denial of the self. John would ask the religious leaders today to take the initial inspirations to guide our communities here and now, and not to make God's divide humanity. God has been active in the world through the newness of the Spirit. Priests and scribes coming out of the curtain of division between the Holy of Holies and the world may not be able to recognize the world at all. It should alarm us that the people who were generally religious, strictly following the law, could not recognize the Messiah when God among us really happened. Perhaps they were too religious, which boxed them within unholy sanctuaries they made for themselves in the name of God. When they saw through their religious boxes, John the Baptist was a madman and Jesus was a drunkard and a friend of sinners. Though strictly following the commandments, why were they deprived of the happiness it promised? They followed the formality of the commandments, but forgot the covenant within the commandment. After the reading of the written form of it, they failed to inquire, what does the Lord ask of you? John was straightforward. He told them to share food and clothing, live a life of justice, and be sincere. If we piously recognize some evils and be blind to those that are profitable to us, we are making a mockery of God. We are often blind to the isolated individualism, narrow nationalism, deliberate lies, creation of conflicts and trade of arms, distortion in science researches, vexed political games in the name of religion, dispossession of the indigenous, sad and frightened faces of children who are victims of war. What should we do? To find joy and gladness, to live in peace, to do the will of God, we must see the baby lying in the manger from Christ's own eyes. May Christ be formed in us to have those eyes.